What's up, photo freaks? I'm Matt DeConti, and this is Wedding Tips. Today, the venue I'm coming to you from is basically a general venue, and that is wineries. Check out wineries. Make sure you're checking at the right time of year when everything's green. Generally, wineries will let you have a wedding there, and they make great wedding venues. So check them out. I'm actually in Malibu, California, and there's so many wineries around here that it's hard just to pick one. So check them out. All right, so the wedding tip I want to give you, brides and grooms, today is probably one of the, if not the most important wedding tip I can give you, outside of tips on your budget. It is having your wedding unplugged. So I've mentioned this before in my other top 10 wedding tips, and today I'm going to go in a little bit more detail. Unplugged, actually, before I go on, this is a perfect video to send to your guests and to your family, because a lot of times you're going to be busy with other stuff, or you feel a little bit awkward asking this of your guests and family members. So let me do it for you. That's what I say, because it is important, and the photography magic doesn't completely just happen on its own. It does need your help, and so having an unplugged wedding is definitely a requirement. You should do this, and most photographers are going to appreciate it and definitely will want it. So that means no cameras, no other cameras, and no cell phones or video cameras during your wedding, reception, all of that stuff. So I will give you some examples. I was shooting a wedding in a church, and I was shooting a side profile of the bride and groom at the altar, and the priest was there and doing the whole service, talking to the bride and the groom. And in the background, because it was a side profile, there is a gentleman taking pictures with his camera. I don't know how the heck he got near the altar, or how he got up there, but somehow he did. And it was intrusive, and it ruined my background for the shot. And I couldn't exactly yell across the church. Waving my arms back and forth, that creates a major distraction. And by the time it takes me to run all the way around to the other side and tell this guy to get the heck out of the shot, I could miss plenty of shots, because time is crucial during a ceremony. And you're paying for this. As the bride and the groom, you're paying for this, or your mom and dad are paying for it. Somebody's paying for these pictures. So you have to take that money and get the most out of it, and trust your photographer. I've seen pictures where it's looking down the aisle and somebody has their selfie stick out, and there's the cell phone of the bride and the groom, gets in the middle of the shot. Let's see. What else has there been? I've had one where the bride and groom are saying their vows, and just when I think I've seen it all, I see something else. So the bride and groom are saying their vows, and the best man, literally the best man of all people, is texting on his cell phone. Not good, not cool at all, and I'm sure the bride and groom would not be happy with that. Another one, I'm taking the family shots, where time is crucial, because you want to get on to the ceremony, to the reception, because your guests are waiting. Well, I'm trying to get through this and manage everybody, and somebody, literally a guest, asked me if I can move so that way he can take shots. And not appropriate, not good. The bride and groom are paying for this. Let them have their shots. These pictures are their memories, and if you're watching this bride and groom, they're your memories, and this is your money. So you want to get the most of it. I've seen one where I'm up at the altar and somebody had their camera, their DSLR, like a pro style camera, up on a monopod, and it's a long, basically like an extra long selfie stick, like a tripod, but with one stick. And they're doing the ring, they're putting on the ring, and then there's this big monopod in the background with this camera. So not only does it ruin the picture, but if you're expecting the photographer to Photoshop that, that's not a basic Photoshop edit. So it is extra, that is extensive editing. So that can cost, because there are multiple shots of this, easily over $1,000 extra to get that type of work done. So think twice before you start bringing your pro cameras and wanting to be a photographer. The photographers will have second shooters, they have backup cameras, so they'll have plenty of options to get the shots that you want, so you don't need these other cameras in case you're worried about a camera fail or something like that. And lastly, the selfish side of us, I'll give you another little story, is way back when a mentor of mine, when I was first getting into wedding photography, was shooting pictures, and one of the guests at the reception came up to him and said, "Excuse me, but can you please tell your photographer to stop taking pictures of us? He's being very rude. I feel very uncomfortable, and we don't appreciate it." Well, my mentor back then looked to see who the photographer was so he could tell them to move, and it was not his photographer, it was somebody else. So one of the other guests was actually making him look bad, and they were grouping him or holding him responsible for somebody else who was just acting, sounds to me like obnoxious or just rude with the camera. So on our end of it, we don't want to have to deal with that or answer to that, and it's just better all the way around. So if you do insist on bringing a camera, I will give you one tip, which I hope it never gets to this. If you are taking a picture of somebody at the wedding and you are not the photographer, if you see the photographer in your picture, you shouldn't be taking it, because that means he's taking pictures. So if you can see us, it means we can see you. So if I'm a little bit picky on this, it's because it's vital, it's important. It's probably one of the top 2 most important things for a bride and groom is their photography and getting it right, because these moments only come once. So that's it. Send this to family and friends. Let them hear straight from the photographer what we need and why we need it, and it takes the heat off of you. So I can't think of anything else to add to this, but remember, keep your wedding day unplugged. We'll all appreciate it. All right? So thanks for watching Wedding Tips, and we'll see you on the next wedding tip.